Hey, thanks again for tuning in. This episode is brought to you by OMG Commerce. That's my agency. Hey, we're specialists at creating omni-channel growth for brands profitably. Now, the greatest brands we know are no longer just D2C. Yes, they're masters of D2C, but they're also growing and scaling on marketplaces and in retail stores. And we understand the complexities of how to grow in all of those channels, from a campaign strategy, a creative strategy, and a measurement strategy. In fact, we recently won a Google Agency Excellence Award for helping RTIC coolers grow their retail sales in Walmart using YouTube. We've helped add almost 8 figures in growth on Amazon for brands, and we've even helped a brand go from 9 to 10 figures. And so we want to help you grow. So if you're not satisfied with your growth in any of those channels, or you're looking to unlock new growth, we should probably chat. Visit us at omgcommerce.com. Click that Let's Talk button. We love to schedule a strategy session with you. With that, back to the show. Well, hello, and welcome to another edition of the eCommerce Evolution Podcast. I'm your host, Brett Curry, CEO of OMG Commerce.
So we've had the privilege, my agency, we've had the privilege of working with some really cool brands. So Native, RTIC, I'm going to break down an RTIC case study here in a bit. Dude Wipes just doing a really cool campaign right now for Little Dudes. They're kind of their answer to baby wipes, but cooler, called Little Dudes. And so we have a full service Amazon agency. So we manage Amazon. We do meta, we do email, we do retention. But man, YouTube is this piece that people are missing and the people don't understand and the people don't exactly know how to leverage. And so, we've had the privilege. We manage about $100 million a year in ad spend, won some awards. And I share that to say all the strategies I'm going to walk through here are based on data, real clients, real experiences. It's going to break this down for you. But here's the real issue, why more people are using YouTube. It's different. Not the same as Meta, not the same as TikTok. It's very, very different from Amazon advertising. It's just a different beast. And so if we want to understand how can we use YouTube to influence shopping behavior, how can we use YouTube to get people to be aware of our brand, to buy our brand, we got to understand how people are using. How are people using YouTube? And it really comes down to 4 key activities or modes that people are in when they're running YouTube ads. So there's searching, there's streaming, there's scrolling, and there's shopping. So kind of break this down a little bit. YouTube is the number 2 search engine behind Google. So more people do searches every day on YouTube than on any search engine, including AI search other than YouTube. People trying to learn stuff, find stuff, that sort of thing. Scrolling, right? On the YouTube mobile app, or if we're on YouTube Shorts, we're scrolling. That's the mode that's most like other social platforms. Then there's streaming. How many of you guys watch YouTube on connected TVs or on your TV screen, or your kids do? I know for my kids, we let them have TV time. Several of them just want to watch their favorite YouTube creators. They're not watching cable. They're not watching any of that stuff. They want to watch YouTube on TV. And then there's shopping. We're researching products. We can actually discover products on YouTube. We can click and buy products directly from YouTube. So it's really these 4 modes, but they're all different. And so we got to understand how we interrupt people. Now, this is kind of crazy. I've been doing this for a long time. This number has been changing over the last couple of years. So this is market share of streaming platforms, specifically on connected TVs. YouTube has been the leader for 2 years, and the lead is extending. So even last year was 10%, now it's 12.4%. They're beating Disney, they're beating Paramount, they're beating NBC, they're crushing Netflix. Take all the smaller ones combined, YouTube is bigger. This is based on time spent on TV screens. So if you want to influence people through TV, use YouTube, right? And so this element of YouTube, it's way more like TV because it's on TV, right? So you can't just take your Meta ad and translate it directly here. You can't just take your TikTok ad and translate it directly to a TV screen. It needs to be a little bit different. Also, YouTube is the number 1 podcast platform. My guess is if you got a podcast you love, they're on YouTube, and that's maybe where you watch, right? I'm a podcaster. I run the eCommerce Evolution podcast, talk to a lot of podcasters. And most of the people that I talk to say that their YouTube viewership for their podcast is growing and audio in some cases is staying kind of flat. So YouTube is a podcast platform and we're in a different frame of mind when we're watching a podcast, right? It's a long form. We're in it for the whole episode, most likely. Great place to advertise to someone and show them a product. It's also a little bit different, right? I'm a huge TikTok fan. My buddy Josh Hadley's going to be talking about TikTok shops. There's a difference, though, between YouTube creators and TikTok creators, right? You may be served an ad on TikTok or see a video just because of its viral nature. You've never followed that creator before. You may never see them again, but you see that ad or that video. With YouTube, it's usually creators that we've got a relationship with. This is a creator that we've watched 5, 10, 15 videos. We're subscribing. We really get to know them. So it's a different trust factor. So 98% of people say they trust YouTube influencers more than any other influencer on any other platform. But ultimately, the reason YouTube is different and the way we have to approach is there are different creatives. So the way we structure our ads, it's different because there's different modes and different screens, different campaign structure, different algorithm, different bidding, all of that. This is not sponsored product ads, not even sponsored brand video. This is something different. And then this is where a lot of people lose heart, give up, abandon ship, say YouTube is not for me. It's because of measurement. It's a different beast to measure. You got to kind of be ready for that and up for the task, or else it's not time to look at YouTube. But I believe it's the most powerful growth engine you're likely missing right now. Can I give you a couple examples here? Dr. Squatch, anybody blown away by their valuation? You saw that Unilever, 1.5 billion, freaking crazy. So we did not work directly with them, but Raindrop Agency, close partner of ours, they did all the original Dr. Squatch ads. And one of the original ones won YouTube Ad of the Year in 2020. Just found out recently that during that hyper growth stage, when Dr. Squatch was crushing it on YouTube, their media buyers were following my YouTube course. So I put out a YouTube course with Ezra Firestone. He's speaking later today. And the guy told me just like a few months ago, I was like, oh yeah, we were like consuming your course and just doing what you said. And so I was like, oh, sweet. Would love to get like some equity, maybe some shares. But that did not work out. Native, we did work directly with them. So they were a client for about 6 years. When we started with them, they were about $100 million in sales. Moise Ali, the founder, awesome guy. He tweeted recently, kind of beginning of this year, they did $1 billion in sales last year. Native did on about 20% EBITDA margins. So $200 million in profits. They bought Native for like $123 million. That paid off for them. That was a good investment and just pretty crazy. But we kind of mapped out their YouTube strategies for retail and for D2C. And then Boom My City, just like I said, you'll hear from Ezra Firestone later today as one of the keynotes. We ran all their Google, all their YouTube, and still do for maybe 10 plus years. We launched them on Amazon. So they were not on Amazon. We built out storefront listings, Amazon ad strategy. We did all of that. They did $6 million in sales the first year on Amazon, and it did not cannibalize their D2C business very much. And so, but the reason that all happened is because they were spending a lot on Meta, spending a lot on YouTube. They had this demand creation engine flowing. There was a lot of people that wanted Boom, and a lot of people that wanted Boom went to Amazon, didn't see it there, and bought something else. So we were able to capture that. But really, this speaks to just the power of building a brand off of Amazon. Now, can you win in this scenario? So you want to win on best wheeled coolers. I'm a big fan of the coolers with wheels, right? You got to lugging something around that's just full of ice and drinks. You got to use wheels, right? Can you win in this scenario? Can you win on a purely search basis? I think you can, and I think you should. But I also think slugging it out in the SERP can feel like a knife fight sometimes, right? It's just real. It's brutal. It's just brutal, and it's hard, right? So you got to do that. But I think it's even better to do this. I'm going to break down RTIC in a minute. But what if you showed people how awesome your coolers are, and they end up looking for you on Amazon? Now they largely skip your competitors. You dominate this result, and now you win the sale. And so ideally you want to do both, but I think you gain real advantage when people are coming to Amazon looking for you. It totally changes again. So you have 3 keys to make YouTube work for you. You're going to break those down right now. We'll release some examples, watch some ads, and have some fun. But the first part is you got to nail your creative strategy. This is really where the battle is won or lost, is with your creatives. And there's a few things to consider here. So I'll go a little bit technical. I'm going to give you a formula, and then we're going to watch some ads. So I think that's the best way to learn. So what's interesting, I know the trend like on Meta has been shorter ads, although I hear that's kind of maybe reversing with the Andromeda release. Oh, YouTube, 45 seconds up to 3 minutes. That's the sweet spot. We've never seen like 15-second ads really crush it. The shorter ads, though, they usually don't drive conversions. People need to stick with the video, see your product in action, get all the features and benefits, and then they're more likely to purchase. So a little bit longer. There are elements of your ads that can feel like a meta ad and elements that feel like TV. I'll show you. You'll see that. And then you want both the vertical ads 9x16 for shorts and mobile, and then 16:9 for TV, desktop, and also part of mobile. And I will say, the core of YouTube, the foundation of YouTube is that 16:9 video, because 50 to 60% of views are on TV. Sometimes we're watching a longer form piece of content on our phone. We're still holding it in landscape mode. And so that 16:9 is core for YouTube. All right, here's creative formula. I don't like to get super formulaic, because I think sometimes, you gotta do something that fits for the product, and you don't want all your work to be just a copycat of somebody else. But these are elements that have to be there. So first of all, the hook. This is where we spend the most time. We're with a creative partner. We're reviewing the performance of a campaign. How strong is that hook? You got 5 seconds, right? 5 seconds, and then that magic skip ad button pops up. Some people are hovering, over the button to press that because they hate you for interrupting them. But you have 5 seconds to win them over. You have 5 seconds to make them say, oh, slow down a little bit. Like, maybe, just maybe, this ad is worth watching. Because we've all done that, right? We're all like, we're ready to skip, and like, maybe I'll give this another 10 seconds and see what's here. And by the way, that is actually the point of the hook. The point of the hook is not to close the deal. The hook can close the deal, right? The point of the hook is to get them to keep watching and to stay, and to get the right person to keep watching. So the hook is important. Product demo. We want to see the product in action, either an actual demonstration of the product. So I'm using it. I'm using the cookware. I'm putting on the makeup, or you're showing the end state of what your product will do. Taking a supplement, now I feel better, now I'm running, now I'm lifting my kids up, whatever. So show me the product in action. Some kind of social proof. Could be reviews, could be actual UGC, but I need some kind of social proof that other people like me have used this product and it's worked for them. Got to bust objections. I'm from Missouri. Anybody else here from the state of Missouri? All right. St. Louis, some Springfield. Yeah. So Missouri, for those who don't know, the show me state, and it's very charming. Our state animal is the mule. So we are all a bunch of donkeys out there in Missouri. But the key there is you got to show us, so we're not going to believe you, right? We all have objections. And I think when you're picturing your customer in your mind, think about people from Missouri, right? They're stubborn. You got to show them, or else I'm not going to believe you. And so we got to overcome those objections. Objections left unaddressed will prevent someone from clicking and taking action. They just won't do it if there's still objections that are there. And then finally, some kind of call to action, some kind of offer, some kind of, hey, do this next thing. And if you don't have that, people will not take action. So here is something to keep in mind. How many of you guys are advertising on Meta right now? How many of you guys are advertising on TikTok? All right. Yeah, great. So your best social ads on Meta, on TikTok, you take those videos, those may become your best hooks for YouTube. So that's one way to leverage those ads. Now I'm going to show you a few ads. I'm going to show you 3 ads. The first one was for RTIC. I'm going to kind of break out a case study. We helped RTIC grow in Walmart with YouTube, but it also lifted Amazon, DUC. But this is one style of video. This is a creator. And so I'm actually going to play the whole video. This works.
This is the 65 chord ultra tough RTIC GUI, and I actually put it to the test and in quite a few fun different ways. And this thing is ultra tough. I am April Wilkerson, and I'm a builder. I am always running and gunning, whether via my work or in my hobby. And I put a high value on function, durability, and high quality. And that's why I resonate with RTIC here, because they are overbuilt, but not overpriced.
So that video crushed it. This was a shorter version. Straight to the shorter version because that's easier for presentation. longer versions actually work better. What did you like about that ad? So be audience participation part. What did you like about that ad? What's that concise tagline? I like that. Overbuilt, not overpriced. Yeah, Brandon.
Immediate action, how it is.
Right in, crazy. Right in the action. And that's an excellent point. Learned this from Google years ago. They say, hey, if you're building a YouTube ad, think like a movie trailer, right? This is not a normal story arc where there's a slow build up and then it builds to a climax. No. Think about a movie trailer, right? What happens at the beginning of a James Bond movie trailer? Explosion. He's jumping out of a plane. Something crazy's happening. And then maybe it'll back up and tell the story. And then something intense again, right? You don't have to have special effects. You don't have to be James Bond, but start high, immediate action. Somebody else? What else did you like? Yes, sir.
The single problem.
Durability. Yeah. Really focused on one problem, right? She's chucking this thing down the bank of a levee. She's kicking it off her deck. She's parking her F-350 on it, right? This thing is durable, right? If you're going to invest in a cooler, this thing is going to hold up, and it just absolutely crushed.
I want to take a minute and tell you about Loop subscriptions. Now, what if one platform transition could transform your subscription business overnight? Well, that's exactly what happened to longtime OMG Commerce client Nutripal. They switched to Loop and grew subscription revenue from 4% of total revenue to 20% of total revenue. OC reduced subscription churn by 50%. Lumen achieved 12.6% additional revenue from the payment recovery feature alone. Unlike other platforms, Loop includes dedicated success managers on Slack and costs about 40% less than the competition. Plus, eCommerce Evolution listeners get an additional 50% off the Pro plan. That's nearly 70% in total savings compared to other subscription apps. So if you're ready to join almost 1,100 brands who've made the switch to Loop, visit loopwork.co to book your demo.
Also, anybody a fan of Home Improvement from back in the 90s? I know she was like a Tim the Toolman Taylor, but way more trustworthy. I kept telling the RTIC, we still work with RTIC, they're great. We're like, get me more April Wilkerson videos. I'm like a super fan. So great video. This is one from Native. This is not their top product, but this ad, you'll kind of see, this is a mashup of a whole bunch of TikTok creators and Instagram creators, but woven together in an ad. And I think this format will work for a lot of different.
Native's moisturizing lotion helps my skin to feel so hydrated and smooth. I just love the fact that it keeps your skin moisturized all day with a new and improved formula. And I just love how rich and creamy the formula is. They provide a deep hydration with a lightweight feel. It's just super hydrating, but also lightweight and sync to your skin super fast. You're going to love it. The formula absorbs in the skin so easily without leaving a residue. And don't even get me started on how good they smell. Just smells so yummy. And also actually have them 7 of their best scents. You smell good. It's quite literally the best compliment.
Awesome. So what you like about that one? Constant movement. Not like to the point of being overwhelming, but you almost can't look away. Like it's moving. It's moving a lot, right? There's always 2 panels, but that has kind of at 3 panels. 2 panels are almost always moving. One is static. One is kind of branding, showing the product, showing some design elements. The other 2, always moving. What else? Sir?
The count is.
Yeah. The count, the number of UGC elements. I remember sitting in a room showing this ad for hair products to a group of women. And one of them said, my hair's not like that. I don't think it'll work for me. Right. And so that's something we got to keep in mind. If we're showing UGC, you need to show a variety because the person you want to buy, they've got to see themselves in that ad. So if you're watching this ad, you're probably seeing someone with your hair type, your skin type, maybe your personality is like, hey, I resonate with that person. So this will likely work for me. Here's another similar one. This is for OPO Pop. This is one we just launched them on YouTube like less than a month ago. This video is absolutely ripping right now. I'm going to play it.
I had no idea popcorn could get that good.
I have something for you to eat. It's called OPO Pop.
Oh, beautiful.
Step right on. You go.
It's just so cool. Extra black.
OPO Pop, where every kernel is individually wrapped in flavor. No more half-flavored popcorn.
How good can it really be? It's just popcorn. I had weird flavors like Cinnalicious, Fancy Butter, Kickle Monster. That one sounds good. Wow, you need to try this popcorn. opopop.com, you win.
So it really is great popcorn. I recommend you try it. But you kind of see again, it's a variety of influencers. There's some like quick pitting clips. Then there's the one clip of the girl trying the pickle monster, and she's like pauses, music goes quiet, she's munching, or what's she gonna say? A little bit of suspense built up there. But yeah, you see that, and if you're a popcorn fan like I am, it's my favorite snack, you're like, I should probably check this out. Should probably give this a second look. The Drew Barrymore piece helps as well, getting some celebrity in there, but not necessary, just a bonus if you have it. And so this is what we build for our clients. This is what you need to do with your team, with your agency, or you're using for YouTube, creative feedback loops. So the good news is with YouTube, it is dependent on creative. You'll live or die by the creative, but you don't need dozens or hundreds of ads running to make YouTube work. And that's what I know from my meta team is that, hey, some accounts you need hundreds, thousands of creatives to make meta work. Not the case with YouTube. You need a handful to get started, and then maybe a handful a month testing from there on out. But what we're really looking at is these three things. We're watching what's called the view rate. So the percentage of people that see the ad that actually watch the ad. So they choose to watch the ad, they don't skip. What is that view rate? That view rate's going to tell us, and it's more relative to your brand than it is based on a benchmark, but how good is that view rate? That's going to tell us, does this hook resonate, right? Does this hook resonate with this audience? We all look at the view rate. The product demo piece, we're really going to see if that's working by the duration of the video that they watch. How long do they watch the video? And then do they click? Because if they're bailing early, it's because the demo's not good. Or if they're not clicking, it could be it's on TV, right? TV doesn't get click-throughs, but it could be that the demo wasn't compelling and I didn't see enough there to make it click. And then, of course, conversion rate really kind of wraps into all of it. We are trying new calls to action, new offers all the time to see what wins. All right. So number one is creative. Number two, you got to look at campaigns and the right campaign structure to win on YouTube. I'm going to break down this RTIC case study for you. We were approached by RTIC, I guess almost 2 years ago. They said, hey, can you use YouTube to grow Walmart sales? So we've been succeeding on Amazon to grow online. We're in Walmart Sound coast to coast. Can you help us grow there? It was said, yes, that's what we built for native back in the day. And so these were kind of the 5 ways we measured success on YouTube. But this is really how almost everybody needs to look at measuring success on YouTube, minus the Walmart piece if you're not in there, right? But number one objective was Walmart sales. Can we lift in a meaningful, measurable way Walmart sales using YouTube ads? Can we create a search lift? And what that means is, and Google will measure this for you, people that see your YouTube ad, are they more likely to search for your brand? So they'll actually measure the lift from YouTube that drove increased searches for your brands. Can people visit the store, right? And so something you do if you're in Walmart, it's harder, Lowe's, or some big operation. Google can measure someone saw the ad and then visited the store. So in-store visits, online sales, of course, and then post-purchase surveys. For those are selling D2C, how many of you guys are running post-purchase surveys? Huge data point, especially if some tracking goes away in some areas. Like, you got to be doing post-purchase surveys if you're D2C. This is something that I'm happy to run. If you're a bigger brand, I figures I can run this for you for free. Google will do this. Basically, they'll look at where across the country your category has high and low demand. So wheeled coolers, where are wheeled cooler searches popular? Where are they not popular? Where's it kind of in the middle? Then where is your brand popular? Where are people searching for your brand? Where are they not searching for your brand? You start to look at where that overlaps, and this gives you opportunities of, hey, I need to lean more into these areas to sell more. So if there's high category demand and low brand demand, I need to go for it there, right? And sometimes if there's high category and high brand demand, I can get even more from those markets. And so we use this for RTIC to kind of map out the strategy. Here's what we saw. After running YouTube for about 6 weeks, we saw a 230% lift on mobile searches. So people that saw the YouTube ad, 230% lift in RTIC brand terms. and then 231% lift on YouTube where people were searching. And this was just one of the test sales we ran in, but they saw a 25% sales lift in Walmart. So we did kind of a geo holdout. So they got statisticians on our data science team at RTIC. They measured this, but they said, hey, comparing these markets to other comparison markets, 25% lift driven by YouTube. It was the only variable in those markets. A couple of call outs. Little Rock, 44%. And I just threw up Springfield, Missouri, because that's where I live. And I think that was all my wife. She was like, let's get Arctic Coolers for everyone in our family, drinkware. And I think that was all me. And so, but anyway, this is how we measured, did YouTube actually work and drive sales? We won an Agency Excellence Award from Google, which is really cool. And now we're doing this for a bunch of different brands, omni-channel growth with YouTube. And then the third thing, last thing, is how do we measure for success? I kind of showed that a little bit, but I want to break this down a little bit more here in the last few minutes. Anybody heard of House Analytics? Or has anybody seen this podcast with Olivia Corey and my buddy Andrew Ferris? Yeah, there's a yes back there. Yeah, this was awesome. So I'm a huge House Analytics fan. They do incrementality tests based on geo holdouts, right? So you got a test set of geos, you got a control set of geos, you're measuring the difference. Because here's what's frustrating about ads. Even if you're using a tool that measures click-based data, you don't really know, like, what made this person buy? Was this ad the reason they bought, or was this just the last piece of the process? And so the most scientific way to figure out, did this ad cause a lift, is an incrementality study. They're actually kind of expensive. But here's what House said. 190 incrementality tests. These are all with 8 and 9 figure brands. These are all brands spending about 30% of their meta budget they were investing in YouTube. So they were not just spending, a few $1,000s here and there on YouTube, they were investing in it. But then they measured, okay, how do these geos where they ran YouTube, how do they compare to other markets? And here's what they saw. They saw that the actual incremental performance, the performance in their data, was 3.4 times better than what they saw in YouTube. So to translate that, if you saw a 1x ROAS in your YouTube data and platform, this group was actually getting a 3.4x ROAS. Okay. Now, if they were advertising or if they were also selling on Amazon, you could add a full 100% to that. So you may be seeing a 1 in platform. It was actually a 442% lift, including all of DSC and all of Amazon. And so, and also 76% were new customers, net new customers to these brands. So you may be thinking, why is YouTube so bad at measuring their own platform and measuring their own performance? Well, it comes out to a few things. One, we're all logged into a bunch of different Gmail accounts, right? We have usually one Meta account. We all probably have a dozen Gmail accounts. Our kids are logged into things, and it's a bit of a mess. So that's part of it. But the other thing is, people don't really click on YouTube ads, right? If we're on YouTube, we're there for a purpose. We're not that likely to click. And so even at its best, YouTube has half the click-through rate, less than half the click-through rate of Meta. And so if you don't get a click, it's really hard to measure what happens after that unless you get creative. 50% of views, it's up to 60% I've seen in some studies now are on TV. You don't click your TV, right? And TV has never been measured by click data. You got to measure that a different way. And so that's where you look at search lift, brand lift, sales lift, things like that. You got to get kind of sciencey to make that all work. And so it's just a different beast to measure. A couple quick examples and I'll wrap up. This is for a hair care brand. We ran all of their Amazon, we ran all of their YouTube. They had to pause their YouTube ads for a bit to they were retooling a few things. When they did, we were measuring because we were running their brand search. We're running everything on Amazon for them. Their branded search volume got cut in half. So people searching for them by name on Amazon, volume got cut in half when we paused Amazon. And then over time, they had a data science team as well, pretty big brand. They believe that for every one D2C sale, because we were driving traffic action to their D2C store with YouTube, but they were confident. They said, hey, for every one D2C sale we're getting here, we're getting 2 on Amazon. Because people just like to buy on Amazon, right? So they see the ad, they explore, they learn, but then they buy on Amazon. And so really to look at YouTube, you got to look at what we call the trifecta of lift for the results here. So we're not just measuring the click data in YouTube. We're not just measuring with Triple Whale and North Beamer or another multi-touch attribution tool like that. We're looking at all of these things. how can I create a baseline with my Amazon sales and look at growth rate? And then how can I see lift above that? How can I look at search lift? That's something Google will do for you for free, something we can help set up. And then how are my overall sales trending up as well? It's not the same, and you got to just be okay with that it doesn't look the same as sponsored product or sponsored brand ads. It is a different piece, but it's a very powerful tool. And that's why brands lean into it. Brands like Dr. Squatch, it was their big growth lever. It was the new growth lever for RTIC and many, many others. And so how can we help? I'm going to be around rest of the day, be around tomorrow as well. So we can do these things for you. Kind of a YouTube readiness. So if you want like a YouTube readiness audit, we can look at your creatives, look at what you're doing now and say, okay, you would need to do these things to kind of be ready for YouTube. We can talk about the combo of YouTube and Amazon and overall just kind of help you get ready for this. So I think I am officially out of time. Thank you for kicking off Innovate with me and with Porcelli.
And as always, thank you for tuning in. We'd love to hear from you. What would you like to hear more of on the show? Leave us a review if you've not done so. And with that, until next time, thank you for listening. This episode of the E-Commerce Evolution podcast is brought to you by Fermat. Fermat is the AI native commerce platform that optimizes shopping experiences, leading to best-in-class shopper engagement and conversion. Leveraging proprietary data tools and its adaptive commerce graph, Fermat delivers hyper-personalized experiences to both human and agentic shoppers that adapt in real time to behavioral and performance insights. Trusted by industry leaders like Backcountry, Bissell, and Glossier, as well as premier agency partners, Fermat platform blends advanced analytics and optimization tools like heat maps, strategy engines, and conversational data insights to maximize shopper impact and tailor every touch point. Check it out for yourself at Fermat Commerce, Fermat commerce.com.